PYX 106.
1-800-LAW-1010, 1-800-LAW-1010.com. I guarantee this guy's got an elf on the shelf around the house.
Attorney Paul Harding. You got an elf on the shelf over there, Paul?
Yeah, we never did. We never got into that.
Oh, good
time
for
has
you.
passed a bit, but kind of creepy, yeah.
Good man.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul, there's 5 white rhinos left in the world, but there's like 50 Cosby accusers. What a planet we're living on,
Something's messed up, right?
It is.
What's on the topic of Cosby, and we've been saying this in studio for a couple weeks, and so we're glad you're on the show. Like, what's the statute of limitations? Why are these accusers why are all of them not actually filing lawsuits against Bill Cosby?
Well, you got two things going on. You've got the criminal component to it, and that's got a statute of limitations. Then you have the civil component, which is for seeking money damages for the damage that he allegedly caused. So you've got the criminal thing, and generally those statutes are fairly short. New York, interestingly enough, does not have a statute of limitations on first-degree rape. So some of those things occurred here, and I think they may have some allegations that they did. Technically, criminal charges could still be brought, but
What about Gloria Allred, Paul? Gloria Allred, who says, obviously it's just a political move or something, but she wanted Cosby to actually waive the statute of limitations on the alleged rape cases in order to set the record straight. Is that even possible?
Yeah, what happens here, again, now we're going to jump into the civil component. So criminally, I don't think anything's going to happen. Physical evidence is old. There's been no rape kits or blood tests or all that kind of stuff. So the criminal component is probably non-existent. The civil component, she's saying, hey, listen, that time has probably passed too. In fact, I think it has passed on all of them. Here in New York, you'd have about 1 year, maybe up to 3 years to bring the claim, unless you're an infant. You'd have a little more time. But again, assuming all that time has passed, what she's saying is, listen, do the right thing. Don't hide behind the statute of limitations. Sort of do what the Catholic Church did. They at that time had passed also, but the Catholic Church said, we're not going to be overly concerned about the statute of limitations. We want to do what's right. Mr. Cosby, you should do the same thing, and he has been non-committal.
When like a Camille Cosby comes out and in support of her husband, like she did yesterday, if that were to happen in a court case, how would that be looked upon? Do people believe? Like, is that good evidence right there to a jury or to a judge when the wife of somebody comes out and says something like that?
Well, it certainly can hurt you the inverse. When the wife comes out and says, I've either known about or suspected these things, and he's kind of a creep. But when you've got the wife who would be the closest proximity to him for all those years saying, listen, this stuff just isn't true. I know the man, sure. It's strong in the eyes of a jury. And again, we haven't really had a chance. Everyone's kind of prosecuting Bill Cosby in the media here, and I think that is what happens, and he may be very deserving of it. But no one's really gotten behind the curtains of some of the accusers and find out what are the facts around that? And I think that would be what a lawsuit would do. And again, that's assuming, in theory, Bill Cosby says, "Listen, I'm going to waive the statute of limitations. You guys can, let's try this in a court, and let's see what the jury says."
So Paul, this is my last question for you, and in no way is settling a sign of guilt, but for the average person like me, I'm like, well, he settled with that woman X amount of years ago. That's an admission of guilt. Settling, as Quinn told me, sometimes you're just in a corner where settling's the best and easiest thing to do.
There's no way else out of it, and it's beating you up.
Right.
And,
It's not. Doesn't mean you're guilty. It doesn't mean you're guilty.
I've absolutely seen people do that. Corporations, when it just is too expensive to continue, it is hurting their sales. It's just taxing them, emotionally. So yeah, I've seen absolute settlements that just say, just go away. Here's some money. Let me focus on what I do best. But yeah, I think once you do that, the public is going to take a look at that and say, sure, he wouldn't pay. 'Cause I wouldn't pay unless I did something. And historically, that is how it plays out.
What's it called when you get sued by somebody and they don't use a lawyer, Paul? They do it themselves.
Pro se, yeah.
Pro se. Yeah, man. Like and like courts. That happened. That's what happened to me. Pro se, like no legal.
So it wasn't really costing this guy.
Well, it was him and his time, right?
Right.
But it was costing me.
Yeah. Oh,
and the judge looks upon the pro se stuff more favorably than they would a lawyer coming in.
You're not a fan of the pro se, are you, Paul?
Not a fan of the pro se, no.
Yeah.
And I would say that what happens is the judge is a little more careful because when you have a lawyer, he knows the lawyer knows the rights, and he can kind of beat the lawyer up a little bit. When you're proceeding pro se without a lawyer, yeah, I think you do get a lot more courtesies, and cases can drag on. It sounds like you've had that experience.
Let me just be clear that it was nothing like Cosby's going through right now. It's nothing like that.
No.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Well, Paul, we appreciate your take on Bill Cosby. Have a great holiday because we're off next week, so we'll talk to you when we return. Okay, pal?
Sounds great, guys. Thank you.
Paul Harding from Martin Harding and Mazzotti, 1-800-LAW-1010 and 1-800-LAW-1010.com.
Quinn and Cantera, mornings on PYX 106.